Well, here we are at the Salton Sea. We're about to conduct a very important experiment. We're on the south shore of the Salton Sea, close to the thermoelectric plant there, geothermal electric, something like that. Heat from underneath the ground. And they'll be mining lithium very soon there. There is some waterfowl, actually, living birds out there. And we'll be shining the laser all the way across. You can barely see the northern shore, way off there in the distance, 30 miles away. First step will be shining a laser over to Bombay Beach, which is 15 miles in that direction. And then I will continue on to the northern shore and we'll be shining lasers back and forth from here to the northern shore. Passing a few geothermal plants out here. There's the Salton Sea off in the distance. Lots of agriculture here. Farmland. Can't tell if that's an actual fire station still in use. Nah, it can't be. Who knows? This place is so artistic and magical. We're on the southeast corner of the Salton Sea. I mean, look at this place. It's like a movie set. It's fantastic. Imagine the photography that could be done in here. Amazing. Alright, back to our quest. And here we are entering Bombay Beach. Kind of a cool little art piece there. And the Ski Inn at Bombay Beach is open. Cocktails and home cooking. This looks like the happening place here. It's kind of a neat little community here at Bombay Beach, and it's all built around art. A whole lot of art here, especially when we get down to the beach. There's a lot of large metal sculpture and a lot of photos online of the cool art here. And here's the beach. Can't see too much in this light, that's for sure, but the beach is just full of some pretty neat metal sculpture. Here's like a shipwreck off to the side. It's very cool, and you can see already just how clearly the opposite shore shows up on a nice clear day. I mean, the water is just glass. And well, I'll tell you one thing: the lights on the shoreline all around are distinctly visible. We're going to shine a laser over there to Team A, which is at the south end, and see how that shows up. Okay, here we are at Bombay Beach. Let me just get the background. So here, there's a red blinking light on top of the tower. That's the entire panorama of the Salton Sea. Conditions are perfect right now. It's very calm, and so no wind. And see that red laser? I don't know if you can see that over there, and we're going to shine ours back in that direction. There it is, pointing at it right now. And you can see that red laser flashing us. How about that? Isn't that amazing? So that red laser is on the very south end of the Salton Sea, where the geothermal electric plants are. Maybe I'll insert a photo of the map here and circle exactly. But basically, this is 15 miles. 15 miles from point to point. He's got a laser, I've got a laser, flashing each other right now. Each of us holding the laser 1 foot off the water. Let's see my laser. Probably not. Turn on the light. Oh, I can't turn on the flash. Oh, there you go. Alright, there I am. Foot off the water. There he is, way out there. And flashing each other. Pretty amazing. Alright, we're back on the road and headed north. So that test we just did from the south end there of Salton Sea to Bombay Beach was 15 miles exactly, and from point to point there should have been 110 feet of drop. That's assuming that each of us was 1.5 feet off the water. I'd say we're closer to 1 foot, but at any rate, to be generous, say 1.5 feet. Total of 3 feet of elevation. We should have been hidden by 110 feet of curve. In other words, either one of us would have had to jump up in the air 110 feet in order for our lasers to be visible from opposite sides. And we both see each other's laser flashing quite dramatically. I have no explanation. If anyone has an explanation, please propose it in the comments, but I have no explanation for how we could see flash from a direct line of sight to the source of the laser. And there should have been 110 feet of drop. But regardless, we press on to 30 miles, which is from Mortemar, a little tiny town called Mortemar, on the northeast corner of Salton Sea, all the way there to just the middle of the south edge, right where the geothermal electric plants are. And our next check-in will be from Mortemar. Well, here we are in Mortemar, and Team B here. We're going to be shining a laser at Team A, which is all the way down here at the bottom, in the middle of the bottom there of the Salton Sea. South end, I should say, not bottom. And we're right here at the northeast corner, 30 miles exactly away. We shall see if we can see each other's lasers. That is a big spider. Look at that guy. He's about 2 inches long. That is a... Whoa, look at that. I don't even know what that is. No, it's just a flying insect. Look at that beast. Is that babies? I think that's babies on his back. That's terrifying. Wow. Wow. Alright. On to our adventure. We're literally going through the jungle here at the north edge. So we couldn't do Mortemar because the land basically jutted out just barely between Mortemar and that south end. On Google Maps it didn't show that because the Salton Sea is slowly shrinking, and so more and more land being exposed at the edge. It looked like we could get a direct line of sight right along the shoreline, but it turns out because of the shrinking shoreline, basically shrinking the water, we couldn't quite get it. But here we are, the jungle has opened up into Salton Sea. See all those lights along the perimeter. It's just a beautiful night, very clear. You can see, looks like all the way to the south edge. We'll see in just a moment. But crossing this kind of extensive expanse here to the water's edge. Had to pick another location, which is Desert Shores. I'm at Desert Shores. Team B, Team A is still in the same spot there in the southern peninsula. I don't think this is going to show up in the video, but it's so faint. You can just see it flashing there, and it's right there. Right out there. I don't know if you can see my laser in the video. Oh yeah, there you can see it. So this is in front of me, going up, out, I should say out over the Salton Sea, and right to location of A. I can just see him, Team A, just barely flashing there, and I'm flashing it back. Just see pinpointed. I'm going to turn mine off for a moment so you can see his. There it is. And I mean, at this distance, the smallest wobble just goes barely across your vision. You can flash and then it goes away right there, right there. I mean, just the smallest movement of a millimeter counts for yards on the other side. The exact angle, but anyway, tiny movements get way amplified. We're talking about 30 miles. It's literally 30 miles. There should be 518 feet of drop. There's a little bit less because we're not right on the water. I'm about 5 foot elevation, and he's estimating 10 to 15 feet. He has to be a little bit above the water to point in this direction. And so total, let's say, total of 20 feet of elevation. I'll have to look at the calculator again. It's going to be just under 500 feet of drop. One of us should have to jump 500 feet in the air to be able to see each other's laser flashing directly there. You can see it flashing around, and then you can see a direct line of sight as it crosses, pointing directly at us. Almost 500 feet of drop. Amazing. Got any explanation? Post it in the comments. I'm all about shooting holes in a hypothesis. That's what science is about, right? Testing of a hypothesis. So now is the time to shoot holes. If you have any explanation for why you can shine a laser directly across 30 miles of water and see it from either side, please post that in the comments. Thank you very much. Well, experiment completed. A little bit windy, a little bit sweaty. That was a mile at least of jogging. Get back to the car. I was a little worried about the coyotes there. There was a lot of coyote paw prints and some droppings. So anyway, jogging past the jungle of palm trees. It's a little sketchy, but made it back. So here's the bottom line. It was actually 32 miles. We looked again on the map, which is 469 feet of drop below the horizon. It should have been there, according to the globe model. You can do the calculations yourself. I don't know how the video came out. I didn't watch it yet. I doubt you'll be able to see the flashing of the laser. It was so faint just with my naked eye, and I'm using an LG phone here that's probably 3 years old, so I doubt that it picked up the flashing. But I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm not here to try to persuade you that my experiment was valid. I know for myself now because I did an experiment myself and I observed for myself, and that's what science is all about, right? You don't want to just have faith in somebody else. So I'm not here to persuade anyone. What I'm here to do, if any persuasion happens, is just to persuade you to do your own experiment. I'm not here to persuade you to believe my experiment. Alright, so do your own. Find standing water somewhere. Go out to a lake, go out to an ocean as far as you can, get as close as you can to the water. Look at the model yourself, look at the calculations. You can find these calculators online, but it's very simple. You take the number of miles of distance, you square that number, you multiply by 8 inches. Because every mile squared is 8 inches of drop. And that's how many inches run through should be. So, not complicated, right? Let's say conservatively, let's say it's not 32 miles because, as I mentioned in one of my last videos, the Salton Sea is slowly shrinking. So let's just be real generous and say a mile of shoreline shrank away since the Google Maps was last updated, the Google Maps. And let's say it was only 32 miles. So if we take off a mile on each end for shrinkage, say it was only 30 miles. At 30 miles and 20 feet of elevation total, because I was 5 feet, I'm estimating 5 feet off the water, and Team A was 10 to 15 feet, so we're going to give them 15 and say we were a total of 20 feet elevation. We should still have had 401 feet obscured below the curve of the Earth, so either one of us would have had to jump 400 feet in the air, 401 feet, to see the other's laser. So something wrong there. Something a little bit sketchy, something a little bit off. So, I'm going to stop talking. Do your own friggin' experiment for yourself, decide for yourself if we are standing on flat, level ground.